Hello everybody, Huckrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 423. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Guillotine IIC. Yep, it's a favorite of ours around our gaming little circle. The Guillotine, or the Guillotine IIC, has always been one of those mechs that always finds its way into a lot of our games because, well, individuals have a strong liking for it for obvious reasons. I know my one brother, he just loves the Guillotine. It's like he'll throw down with you over being able to use a Guillotine. It's like if one's in the lineup someplace in the game, he's like, that's mine. Like, don't even argue, just hand the sheet over because that's going to be his. So yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, I totally understand. I love the Guillotine myself. It's like it's one of those love relationships with a mech. They're like, yeah, like it a lot. Now, the Guillotine IIC is a 70-ton mech. It's a 464. Yes, a 70-tonner with jump jets. What's not to love about that? We have 16 double heat sinks, standard engine, has endo steel, and 12 tons of slab armor for 192 points. Roughly, if they had swapped that out to ferrofibrous armor, yeah, you could easily max the armor out on this thing pretty easily. I just like take a look. I think it's 111 or 117 or 217, sorry. So if you swapped it to ferrofibrous armor, it would max the armor out and you would have basically half a ton to play with a maxed out armored mech. So yeah, can you say flamer? Yeah, I can. Or maybe a Streak 4 instead of an SRM 6. Yeah, go that route. Now, the Guillotine IIC, obviously with this wonderful movement of 464, it makes it useful. It harkens back to the old Star League days when most mechs are 4-6 movers. Occasionally you do have some that are a little faster, because they're running with XL engines, but this is one of those designs that turns this mech into a zombie mech. Don't have to worry about it. Eventually it will die, but it will take a lot of damage to take it down eventually. Then we have the weapon systems. We got the right arm or left arm. We have the ERPPC. All right, so we got an ERPPC. And then in the right arm, we have 2 large pulse lasers. Okay, so we got 3 heavy weapons that produce 35 heat, and you can dissipate 32. So you can shoot all 3 of them for a turn and not worry about any overly big issues. Then we have an ER medium laser in the left torso, ER medium laser in the right torso, and then in the center torso, we have the SRM-6 with a ton of ammo parked in the middle. And then we have right and left torso, a jump jet, and then right and left leg, a jump jet. So it's one of those mechs that can dish out a lot of good amount of damage. Typically, be honest, the ERPPC will find itself being relegated to being used less in a lot of games, just the fact that the heat output of it causes some issues. So basically, as soon as those large pulse lasers come into range, I'm swapping over, always swapped over to the large pulse lasers, and the ERPPC just kind of like, sort of like, yeah, it's there, but I'm not using it because I don't like all the extra heat it produces. Like I said, though, if you walk with this thing and fire everything that's 36 heat, that puts you up 4 on the heat scale, and you can do that for 1 turn. And then you got to swap over to firing just the 2 large pulse lasers, cool off, and then you can go back to 1 turn of firing all 3 if you're walking. Now, if you run, that's a different story. Yeah, that puts you 5 up, and then you're slowing down. So the next turn, you're going to be a 3, 5, 4. So, yeah. You might be able to get a little extra movement by either running in a straight line or jumping 4. and just firing your 2 large pulse lasers because, well, you know, you got the -2 with those. Why not be banging away? Because a constant stream of 10-point shots from this always seems to work out pretty decently in all the games I've ever played with this thing. Yes, I played with the Guillotine IIC a lot. That's why I like it. But if I have to get into a game, like I said, with my one brother, like, here you go. It's yours. You can play with it. So, give me the Warhammer instead. All right, there we go. That's, yeah, if I had a choice, I'm always running a Warhammer. He's always running a Guillotine. So, yeah. Now, then you have those 2 ER medium lasers. That's 10 heat. Now, that's the thing is that when you get those into range, you're going to be firing the 2 large pulse lasers. You fire the 2 ER medium lasers. The damage output's just 1 less than the ER PPC. The nice thing about the ER PPC, though, is that that's 15 in one big old block, and you're tearing off armor. Otherwise, you're doing 7 here, 7 there, whittling them down. So, yeah, you're probably better off just like, all right, I'm going to be messing with, occasionally you got to play with however you're going to look at it. But, and then that SRM-6, obviously that's 4 heat. Once again, you have to figure out how to work that thing into the lineup, because it's one of those where, okay, I'm continually going to be firing the 2 large pulse lasers. There's 20 heat. And if you run, that's 22. That leaves you 10 left over. You fire the SRM. And an ER medium laser, you know, that keeps you under that heat threshold. I definitely, if I'm seeing someone with a bunch of holes in their armor to begin with, I am going to be firing the SRM-6 just because I want some potential crit hunting weapon systems, because that's your scatter system that's going to be, it's like, okay, typically you're getting hit with 4, and hopefully of those 4 you get 1 or 2 that will hit an open spot and maybe get 1 crit if you're lucky. Typically, that's, you know, that's Battletech Hammer math, you know, or Warhammer math, or however you want to look at it. Yes, I play Warhammer too. That's basically how I always look at using this mech, because this is the Prime version, and I do like the Prime. Now, I have in the past, yes, made a major change. Dropped the ERPPC for a 3rd large pulse laser. Well, let's look at the math there. 3 times 10 is 30. There you go. And you can dissipate 32. So you can run and fire all of them. And you can jump and still fire all of them, and not worry about going over that threshold of 5. That would have been a better design aspect for this mech, is to have 3 large pulse lasers. And if you got 3 large pulse lasers, you are repeatedly, turn after turn, swatting down things and doing lots of damage. You see a light mech trying to come over into your area of operation, you look over and go, hey, you got that 3-4 mod on you? Well, I'm going to cut that in half, and then I'm going to, you know, punch a few holes in you. Even if 1 of the 3 hit, 10 points on a light mech, typically in a lot of cases will punch in. Especially, you know, it's like if they're lightly armored, especially interfere light mechs. And that's been my experience, is that you get 2 of them, and if you get them both in the same spot, like center torso, a lot of times you can, like, DRT right there. Dead right there. So, yeah. It's a nice mech. I cannot deny that I love the Guillotine IIC. It's always going to find itself in a game. Now, like I said, one of the things I would do with the Prime version, swap out to an ER, that ER to a large pulse, so you got 3 large pulses, and then swap the SRM-6 for, and, you know, do a swap and make it a streak by adding ferro and turn it into a streak 4. Typically, like I said, the average roll you're going to get with an SRM-6 is 4. Why not just go straight to the 4 with the streak 4 and be done with it? There you go. To me, that's a logical swap. And when you lock that thing on, hey, there's 4. Bang, bang, bang. You know, that's going to be 8 damage and, well, potentially 4 hole punchers for getting some crits. Now, you got the Guillotine IIC. All right, this one's a little bit different. This one has the, well, did I tell you the battle value? No, I did not tell you the battle value. It's 2377 of the prime. A little spendy, but you can drop that down just a little bit by swapping out to the ERPPC. You're only losing 3 range and gaining the ability to hit better. To me, that's logical. Very logical. Now, then we have the Guillotine IIC. All right, this one. This one, big change, is adding a targeting computer. We have a battle value coming in at 2721, which is just a little bit less spendy, or a little more spending. Sorry how I can't even math today. Can't even read. That happens every once in a while. Now, the first thing they did, they went to a streak 4 in the center torso. Oh, logical. Yeah, that just makes sense to me. And then you got the 2 ER medium lasers right and left torso. Then you have the target computer in the left torso. And you got 2 more ER medium lasers in the right arm. And then you still got the ERPPC. And your heat dissipation is still 32. All right. So, yeah, you're looking at 10, 20, 35, 38 potential. If you run, that's 40. Jump is 42. So, yeah, you can really cook this thing if you fire an alpha strike with it. But you're probably not going to. Now, the logical thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be banging away with that ERPPC for most of it, throwing in 3 of your ER medium lasers just for happiness. And that's running around 30 heat. And if you're running, that keeps you nice and cool. If you jump, you go up by 2. And you got the offsetting of that targeting computer. So what's not to like about that? Then when you get in close, I'm going to be shutting down the ERPPC, going with the 4 ER medium lasers and that streak 4. That's going to be your primary weapon systems. Yes, you're running at 23, 25 heat. You're running cool at that point. If you really got a good firing solution you like, you might consider swapping out maybe 2 of the ER medium lasers for a PPC just because you like a bigger hole puncher kicking in. And yes, you're going to be going up on the heat. And the other thing is your streak doesn't benefit from the target computer. So it may fire or not. So you may say, I'm going to think of gamble a little extra heat off of that. And it's like if it fires, it fires. If it doesn't, no skin off me. So there you go. So I'd still probably prefer the Prime version over the 2, even though I do like the advent of the targeting computer. But what can you do? It's like you can't have everything. But I still like those large pulse lasers. And definitely, if I had my choice, I would be running 3 large pulse lasers if I could. Then, that is it for the sheets. But in the interesting thing is, now, for those of you who like your heavy lasers, let me dig this thing up here. I played, God, I can't remember if it was Origins or Gen Con. I did get a Guillotine IIC that was running heavy lasers. Let's see, I did make it, if I can remember where it's at in my sheets. That's not it. Is that it? Nope. Maybe it's this one. I got a few builds here. All right, here we go. All right, sorry for the delay. Okay, we have 2 heavy medium lasers in the right arm. Okay, then we have an ER large laser in the left arm. You know, it kind of harkens back to the old design where you got a ER large laser. still in the right arm. But hey, that goes out to 25. That gives you some good distance for punching holes for 10. 12 heat, you know, what's not to love. This thing does have 18 double heat sinks. Still a 464. And then we have targeting computer, but we have 2 heavy large lasers in the right torso and left torso, and a streak 6 in the center torso. So yeah, you're looking at something that, well, it comes in at 2100 battle value, but you have 2 heavy large lasers and 2 heavy medium lasers, an ER large laser, and a streak 6. Now, it's designed to basically fire the 2 heavy large lasers. That will put you up 2. But you are looking at something that's going to be doing 2 16-point shots. And with the target computer, you're offsetting that heavy tax that comes with the heavy lasers. So you're basically just running standard configuration with a couple weapon systems. They're going to be punching holes at 16. Let me tell you, when I was playing this thing, what was a city fight, Cityscape, I think it was, and I think that was the whole reason they designed this thing, was that I brought the sheet home and I turned around and immediately made a digital write-up of it so I could always have access to it. But you'd be going down the street, you come around a corner. I think the game it was partially city, and we were supposed to get resources off the table by carrying them. Might have been Origins. I think it was Origins. And we come around the corner. My whole job is like, well, I can't carry anything because I don't have any hands. So I'm just going to be fighting it out. It's like you come around the corner. It's like, hey, little Mr. Light Mech, you're trying to cause us havoc? Here, have a couple 16s, because I had he was like a 2-3 pilot in that thing. And it was like, bang, gone. It was like a couple 16s, and you just tear something apart, especially if they're light mechs. They were getting toasted. And then when you decide to swap over, then you would swap over to the 2 heavy medium lasers and the streak, throw that in for the same basically heat that you would have with the others. And it's like, yep, have fun with those. We're going to rip you a new one. So it was not a bad game overall. That wasn't a bad design either, if you're into the heavy tax with the heavy lasers. And they did think about putting a targeting computer on, because that's one thing I dislike about heavy lasers. If you don't put on a targeting computer to offset the heavy tax, otherwise it feels like I'm just being shot in the foot. All right, so that was it for that one. So I think I already just talked about what I would do with the, it's like 3 large pulse lasers, and then swap out for a streak 4 and throw on some ferrofibrous armor. Yeah, that worked. So that, like I said, that one was what, 2400 battle value, so not too bad for the cost of something, for throwing it on the table. And obviously you have the better pilot toss in. You put a 2-3 pilot in a mech that has a target computer and large pulse lasers. Yeah, maybe they didn't describe this one. This one has 2 large pulse lasers, 2 ER medium lasers, 3 ER medium lasers, a streak 4, and a target computer. So there. How about that one? That'd be cool. So overall, not a bad mech. I like the Guillotine IIC. It's going to find itself into a lot of games, and what's not to love about it? So if you use the Guillotine IIC in any of your games, let me know. And the other wonderful thing is that if you have a standard Star League Guillotine, you can still use the same mech. It's just different weapon systems. There you go. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.